Hi, I'm going to try to make this a quick update about my experience on the keto diet. It came up on about a year, just a week or so ago, and I discontinued it for a while. Actually, I'll probably be back on it actually as soon as I can because honestly, it was just a good match for me. But just a quick recap, I've done a couple videos talking about my experience with chronic tick-borne illnesses. The ones I know about were Lyme and babesiosis. I treated with antibiotics for a couple years, treated with herbs for quite a while as well, mostly following the Biener protocol. Uh, and I've done a couple of sort of out-of-the-box kind of, that is to say, sort of unconventional treatments as well, which I'll go into maybe here or in some other video. But mostly I want to just talk about, just sort of reaffirm that keto for me was a real great tool. And it seems to work well as a healthy diet, like maybe the healthy diet for me. I, eat pretty clean to begin with, but I stuck with, about a 75 to 80% of my calories from fat, healthy fat, oils like olive oil, avocado, grass-fed beef, a lot of eggs, very fatty chicken broth that I made with the skin and the bone. And I'm pretty satisfied with fairly simple food. I don't have a food isn't not really the centerpiece of my world, but I do really enjoy food, and in this diet in particular, I really appreciated everything I ate, and I stopped over the course of actually within a few months craving some of the what in my spectrum of diet would have been junk food, like apple pie or actually grains generally, and any kind of processed sugar. I just didn't really ever, what just wasn't on my radar. Once I adapted to this diet and to fat as the bulk of my calories. And so let me just give you the positives. Mostly mental clarity, really substantial, noticeable. I went from just really brain foggy and having to find workarounds for my short-term memory loss and just at times not even be able to find my way to the end of a sentence. Just really scattered, and and this had gone on for a few years, and it was noticeable to my friends. It wasn't, people would say, oh, it's just we all do that, we all forget, but this was bordering on crisis. That went away to the point where I felt on keto pretty normal. Like I didn't really feel like I had any real deficit cognitively at all. It's interesting now. I'm 2 weeks off the diet, and I'm feeling a little bit foggier, but it's subtle. And at this stage, it's hard to know if this is just I'm making assumptions about my status based on the fact that I've made this dietary change. But I can say for sure, keto really enhanced mental clarity, and joint inflammation went away almost completely on this diet, and stayed away. I think I did a video about 2 months into it, and was really, expressing my how impressed I was that my shoulders felt better, and my knees weren't a little creaky anymore, and that just has stayed the same to the point where I'm taking it for granted that I just don't have body aches and pains. So those are the main positives. Energy was better. Okay, there's another one. Sleep was better. I just got to this new healthy baseline that I really just after a year just started taking for granted. One thing it's kind of interesting. I noticed I used to take like a 20-minute cat nap in the afternoon for years. It's just like something I like to do. And on keto, within the first few weeks, I didn't have any need to take naps or any desire even to take naps. And I noticed, I just did a 2-month cross-country road trip, and I covered about 10,000 miles. And I didn't get drowsy one time while I was driving. And the old me would get drowsy routinely, like in the afternoon, to the point where I'd have to pull over, kick the seat back and take a nap for 10 or 15 minutes. And I just had been about a week off the diet, and I took about a 4-hour trip to local, to San Francisco. And I had to pull over. I would have maybe caused an accident. It was just right back to the way I used to be. And that never happened on keto. Not a single time did I get drowsy in the afternoon. So it's subtle enough that I really didn't appreciate it until now, being off the diet, I realized, wow, that was a real thing. So I will go back on the diet for sure. I mean, it definitely suits me. I'd say the only downside that I wrestled with was I am not quite up to what I consider to be my normal weight. Just throughout this whole Lyme experience, I probably lost about 5 pounds of body weight from my historic, adult body weight. And I lost another few pounds on this diet. A lot of it, I'd say probably 3 or 4 pounds attributable to just water weight that you lose because you don't retain water on a fat-based diet the way you do with carbs. So I think with carbs, it's for every gram of carbs that you eat, you retain almost 4 grams of water. So the math pretty much dictated that I would have lost 3 pounds. And sure enough, I gained that 3 pounds back within a week. And my muscles, I think, just filling with glycogen, and everything sort of just reinflated. But what I've noticed now, 2 weeks into going back to a carb-based diet, is that my weight has come back to the baseline that it was before the diet, but I have no body fat. So I worked out pretty sporadically during that 2-month road trip. I didn't really work out, but I'm guessing that that this is muscle. I mean, it's there's no other accounting unless I have denser bone, I don't know, mass or something. I'd say that extra couple of pounds came from the keto diet, from muscle. So that was, throughout the diet, my only kind of complaint was that I couldn't gain muscle. And I think actually I was gaining some muscle, but it's hard to appreciate that when your body is, your muscles are glycogen depleted and not retaining, and your body's not retaining moisture. So I'm feeling good about it. I'm definitely wanting to get back to it. I switched to a carb-based diet because I'm going to go to Peru next month and do ayahuasca, which is something I've never done. But it holds some, well, it's just interesting for me. It's something I really wanted to try, not primarily for physical health, but for spiritual health, and for, just exploring and delving into some issues that, sort of lifelong issues that I've wanted to tackle. And the diet requires low oil, no red meat, it's pretty restrictive, and a carb-based diet is really the only way to do it. So I've switched over. I feel pretty good, but I miss eating the way I did. So we'll be back to it probably in 6 weeks. I think this diet, I'm supposed to maintain this diet for 2 weeks after I come back from Peru. So yeah, that's the story, and I definitely encourage people to try this diet. It's it's a commitment, and it's not easy for people who are more social than I am. I'm not all that social, so I can kind of plan my meals just for me for the most part. But it's very doable, and it's really worth having as a tool in your tool belt for dealing with body inflammation, and trying for a lot of different things, for potentially for autoimmune conditions, for just to find out like how your body responds. But you got to give it a good month, I think. You got to first get fat adapted, which is a week or so that can be a bit rough, and then from there, like, let your body adapt to it. And I went through some growing pains initially. Actually, my muscles when I worked out just felt like they were being torn, and I just would hit a wall that it was a level of soreness that I'd never experienced, to the point where I actually felt like I was doing some kind of damage. So I thought about maybe this wasn't going to work for me, and I had a friend actually she had the same experience, and she said at some point she felt like she had MS, and she quit the diet, but I persevered, and my body adjusted, and I felt great. So I would encourage getting to that point, getting a month or two into it, and seeing how you do, and then you'll know. You can go back to it when you need to. You can switch back to more of a carb-based diet, but it really allows your body to establish a kind of flexibility that opens up new possibilities. So, okay, that was my little update. I wish you all well, and one of these days, hopefully, I will do a video on ayahuasca and chronic illness. And actually, I do want to do another video on microdosing psilocybin and brain fog, to treat brain fog. And I've had some really good results from that, but it's a whole other topic that I will get to one of these days soon. All right, take care. Bye.